Lisa,
Yes, baby girl.
when I grow up, I want to be a woman to society.
Then so shall you be. Hey, this is Lisa Landry. Welcome back to Well Menace to Society. I'm thrilled to speak with today's guest. He's back for another episode, one of our favorites. He is the founder and president of Hempful Farms, and he's about to be in a new film. Please welcome back to the podcast, Chris Martin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back. So, what's been going on? Because you were, I think, our second guest, and that's been quite some time.
Absolutely. I see your shows all the time now, and I've noticed that we've had some time pass since the last time we spoke. It's been pretty busy for us over here.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly I think we spoke before I left? Was that before?
You had just opened some businesses in Nevada, so you had just gotten licensed to cultivate cannabis and sell it in dispensaries in Nevada.
Yeah.
And we talked about you going to prison, even though you had a cultivator's grower's license, so you shouldn't have been arrested in the first place. And you ended up in solitary confinement because you had tattoos that identified you as a former bike club president. So you had all kinds of jacked up stuff happening.
Yeah.
And what's been going on since the past 2 years?
Well, let's see. I got home in 17, and I brought home 4 books that I wrote while I was in prison, and I've published 2 of them. One's called One Life, which is my autobiography, and the other one is a cookbook. It's called Convicted Creations, which is just a collection of some of the prison recipes that we invented while we were in. It started off really just as a joke, but turned into 10 episodes on YouTube of a cooking show and a cookbook. I had no idea that 20,000 people a day Google what we're eating in there. So we made a show, and I bring on the inmates. Any male or female that was in prison that has a recipe that they want to share, we bring them on the show, and it's really just, about counseling. It's about counseling yourself through a really bad situation and showing people that, no, we're not victims, and we're not going to let it hold us down. We're going to continue to do great things. And from there, it turned into a big production. So the cooking show launched, and we got quite a big response. And then when my book rolled out in January, we got some pull to do a documentary. And we signed an agreement with GCM Media to produce our documentary. And last month we signed with Nandar Pictures for a 5-year distribution deal, and are just awaiting what platform the documentary will be on. It's called Haters Make Me Famous, and it's based on the book. Pretty much just entails, how I got my start, how I got into trouble with the edibles here in Arizona, and how I fought through it, and my family survived. Now we have 4 retail stores, a cafe, and we're looking to go a little bigger. I've signed a deal with a partner, a venture capitalist, and we're raising some funds. We've acquired some farmland, and it looks like we're going to try to go national. We've got some big box store inquiry that wants our products on the shelves, and if we can raise a couple dollars, we're going to go GMP and just build out really big and try to put this stuff everywhere.
I'm really happy for your success and for Andy's success too, because I know she suffered while you were inside,
Yeah. Major.
Yeah.
It's all Andy. I mean, it says the Chris Martin story on the book and the movie only because I'm the one with the DOC number. But when it comes to the story, she is the story. And when you see the documentary, she's the icing on the cake. I mean, she shows you the epitome of an American love story and what it's like to be a loyal, amazing wife that carried the burden of everything, not just the sentence, but the family. I hate to say it, but prison's pretty easy. We sit there and we get told what to do every hour on the hour and jump through the hoops that we're told to jump through. But at home, she's dealing with sick kids and bills and business and everything else that I can only help out with on a 15-minute phone call. And to see what it did for both of us is it taught us both a lesson. It taught me, Chris, you need your wife more than you've ever imagined. You need to back up, calm down, quiet up a little bit, and let her do what she's good at. This company needs her. And for her, it showed her, like, come out of the shadows. We need you. You're just as big a part of this company as anybody. And it really allowed for us to see that in both sides. It allowed for us to really see what we need from each other. And honestly, now I think it did nothing but make us stronger. Because talk about zig when you zag. Mm-hmm. We got out and we hit the ground running.
Chris, where do we find the trailer? Because you showed me that trailer, and it's really fantastic.
Isn't that powerful? Yeah, it's right now. That link was sent to me off of Vimeo from GCM Media LLC. It's on their page right now. They want everything going to that link just so we're building up the views for the production company. But soon they're going to give me a link that I can put on my YouTube channels and all that stuff. But right now it's on GCM Media on their Vimeo page, and it's right under Haters Make Me Famous.
So that's where we're going to go to see that trailer. And you said that you have 4 stores now.
Yes, this weekend we're leaving for New Mexico. We had a soft opening about 4 months ago in Las Lunas, and this weekend we're going to do our grand opening, where we are going to plant an acre of hemp on Friday morning, part of the land that we've acquired in New Mexico. And then the following morning, we're doing our grand opening of our 3rd store. And then the following weekend, we're back here in Youngtown, Arizona, out by Sun City, and we're opening up our 4th store, which is Hempful Wellness Center. We have fully restorative yoga center we have a dietitian on staff. We're going to do lots of neat stuff with the older clientele that we have out there. It's the demographic is a retired community out there, so we're really targeting the older crowd and getting them in and getting them feeling better, just using some of our product along with yoga, restorative yoga, and stretching and stuff like that.
It's really important. I would think, I know you don't have a background in mental health or in medicine per se, but you are a survivor of the foster care system, and you've been imprisoned. And here you come with this great entrepreneurial background and your heart, this open heart where you know how to empathize with people because you have been through so much that your compassion level is off the charts.
Well, I've been given so many great opportunities since this has all happened. I got to go back and speak on behalf of CASA, a national organization that supported me when I was in the group homes as a kid. I had a CASA worker, which you will learn lots about in my book and my documentary. His name's David Alvarado. Just a volunteer who saw my case and said, you know what, man, why has this kid been in 40 group homes as a 15-year-old? There's no reason why this should be happening. And he stepped in. And, since that's all happened and things like that's happened, 26 years later, I get invited back to CASA to go speak on behalf of their national organization and explain why CASA is such a good program. So I think it's important that when we have those opportunities that we do it. What point is being in 40 group homes if I'm not going to write about it or talk about it or share about it or teach someone? I think I take that all with me, and then no one learns any valuable lesson or moral or I don't get to share and get it off my chest, and I hold it in, and bad things happen or we end up in jail. I think we have to take opportunities for what they're worth and share and teach the other people.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think you will be making a difference. Some of those people are going to be coming in. Some of them have probably never tried legal cannabis before. And I think you're going to very much help them with your holistic center.
Oh, thank you. That's our plan. We really look forward to just opening the minds and hearts. My expression has been hemp is the gateway drug. We've always heard that cannabis is the gateway. Well, for me, I say hemp is the gateway conversation. If I get you in the door at my cafe and we have a hemp cinnamon roll, and then we go talk about the pain patches of the dog treats, well, I've already gotten you to the table. Cannabis is going to be a really easy transition and an easy conversation to have with you at that point.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about lifting the hemp ban? Do you think that'll happen in the next few years nationwide?
I've always felt like that, there's a corporate takeover kind of structuring itself. And if you look at what's going on, out of the 1,100-page hemp bill, the farm bill, there's only a couple pages that even mention hemp. which is a scary deal in itself when you're hiding things in one bill to get them passed. But if you notice also, it looks like that all it's really done is shift the control from the DEA to the FDA. So what's that mean? That means that the DEA no longer is going to control that. But now if you don't have an FDA-approved kitchen and you're not infusing your stuff with that said kitchen, you could be deemed as illegal, which to me just seems like another pay-to-play situation. But, I hope I'm wrong. I have been wrong before. I hope I am at this. It just feels to me, when I have feds that come into one of my hemp stores and they want to ask a bunch of weird questions about my product, and then all of a sudden the post office seizes boxes after the farm bill passes, but then you get little pop-ups on your Facebook page that Coca-Cola is putting CBD in their product or Carl's Jr. is putting it in their product. It's like, why do the corporations feel safe enough that it's okay for them to do it, but if my mom and pop shop does it, we have to worry about the feds seizing my packages or coming in and giving us a hard time about us putting it in a food product because we're not an FDA-approved kitchen. So I think there's a lot of catch-22s out there that we're not aware of, or not privy to, because, we haven't seen it yet. It hasn't trickled down. But being in production and manufacturing, I've been dealing with it now just, these last couple of years, especially on the post office side. They just started season packages. We put legal teams on it. As soon as we do that, all of a sudden the packages get destroyed. You didn't have proper paperwork. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. How do you know that? It's destroyed. I could show you where we sent it with C of A and test result, but so I think that's still an uphill battle. I'm just happy that the conversations are happening. I just hope that more people read. Just because something says legal or says that it's good doesn't mean that it is. I mean, look at drive-through window menus.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no doubt. That's some stuff that should definitely be banned.
Yes, ma'am.
I enjoy a drive-through myself. I'm not one of those uppity girls who's going to pretend I don't ever stop at one, but it's not a good choice, certainly. And again, people making money off of suffering, animals suffering, underpaid workers, etc.
Well, a good example, I was asked to go speak in Utah about their proposition to pass medical cannabis. And when I got there, I started doing some talking and just, meeting people, and all of a sudden I got a message from a friend that said, hey, did you know that Coca-Cola is putting CBD in their product, and CBD, Coca-Cola's got a huge stock market base out of Utah. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, a lot of the church up there, a lot of the Mormon church owns stock in Coca-Cola. I'm like, oh, really? And I start researching that. Well, then you see that GW Pharmaceuticals signed ex-Coca-Cola CEOs to run GW Pharmaceutical, and things start lining up for you. You start making sense out of this madness, like, wait a minute. No kidding, it really is a corporate takeover. So you can kind of see the shift on a larger scale when you start getting into those bigger conversations. And, being a small mom and pop Hempful Farms out of Arizona, I never, one, pictured seeing those conversations. And two, I never really thought that those big companies would totally sell us all out like that. I was hoping that at some point in time that, you rely your sales on customers. You can't kill them all off.
Yeah,
you have to keep them healthy if you want them to come back. I guess I have a different take on things.
Well, you're not some corporate, I'm trying not to use a curse word.
Right?
Yeah, you're not some corporate monkey,
Right.
lackey or whatever. But they do own the patents, though, don't they? Somebody was telling me that the government actually owns patents on CBD oils and cannabis products.
Yeah, if you go to my YouTube channel under Convicted Creations, we do, on the cooking show, I have orange t-shirts that I put everyone in on the set. And on the back, it's got our logo, and it says Convicted Creations. But on the front, it's got the patent number. And most people will signify that with my DOC number. First thing they do is they see that orange and they see the number, and they're like, oh my God, he's got his DOC number right there. But then when they see that me and the chick next to me that I'm cooking with both have the same number, they realize quickly that that's not the case. And we bring it up in the show. We mention it. And we ask everyone, hey, make sure you Google this number, just to educate them. And it's the patent number that the government's owned on the extraction process as a neuroprotectant since the 60s. So it's kind of my way of shoving it in their face. Like, look, you put me in prison for almost 6 years for something that you own a patent on.
Yeah, it's really sick what we put up with as Americans.
It is.
It's
It pisses me off.
I'm ready for the revolution reboot myself.
I agree.
I'm ready. I'm hoping it's a peaceful takeover, the civil war that's coming.
Right.
But we are definitely ruled by sociopaths and greedy, self-interested anti-humanists.
Absolutely. It's sad when the dollar has that much value and power. It's just sad. It's so sad to see it.
You know,
It really is.
speaking of dollars, I have to ask you this. What do you spend in a year average on legal fees? With all the stuff you have to fight that you should be legally entitled to engage in, what do you have to put out of your pocket?
Oh man, that's a number I care not to share.
I know it's got to be
That's a
extreme.
big one. Well, I mean, honestly, I'm still on paper from my last case, so I still pay my regular monthly fees and fines for that. I have a lawyer on staff with a team that we keep up to date. Not to mention just what we spend out on people who tried to copy you. I mean, I never would have imagined how many cease and desist letters I've had to send out for people trying to use the name Hempful Farms.
Are you serious?
No, you can go on Instagram or Facebook or any of those pages right now and search it, and you'll see 30 of them. And literally, I've been trademarked since 2010. We don't try to bully anybody, but honestly, when you go through what we've gone through to get where we're at and work this hard, it's really tough to watch somebody else try to take it with no effort other than a couple keystrokes and a credit card,
Yeah, that's not cool.
Super frustrating. So, annually, I'm sure we're up there. Someone would make a really decent salary if I wasn't paying a lawyer.
We'd have 8 stores. Have a wellness center in every VA hospital.
Exactly. That's what we need.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? And I know you have an affinity for veterans, for those who've served. Are you doing any work currently with the VA there?
I haven't been working with the VA per se, but we've been working with some local veteran groups. I've got a buddy of mine, Stephen Bradley, that comes in quite a bit. He does a music program where he's been raising some money and some stuff for equipment for veterans that play music. We've been wanting to work with him. And then there's another guy, Jared, that we've been talking to. He's starting a farming for veteran program that we really want to get involved with and just help support him to get veterans jobs in the farming community.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, why not? I mean, honestly, my opinion is veterans and people who have gone to prison for this plant should be the first ones that get the benefit.
Yeah.
Sick people, veterans, and the guys that have done time. I just think they should be allowed to jump in feet first.
Well, it's really cool. I'm studying to become a therapist, a mental health professional.
Awesome.
No.
Well, thank you.
I'm digging it. No, thank you. I would like to share with you that we are not being discouraged from considering cannabis or, referring clients to cannabis providers.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of huge. Yeah. I thought I would share that with you because the tide is changing. Everything is people are getting more aware of the fact that we've been manipulated and lied to.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. I think that the time is well overdue for being able to use plant-based alternatives. I mean, it's just amazing to see what these products do when they're implemented. I think my clientele age group has raised probably 10 or 15 years on average, just because they are realizing what these products can do for them and how easily accessible they can be. I just have to take hemp oil and put it under my tongue, or take an edible and eat it, and that's it. It's really that simple.
I can go to sleep. I don't have PTSD. I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat pills. With all the opioid baloney that's been going on these past few years, it's just reached such an epidemic. I read that our biggest cause of death to our adolescent population in America right now is overdosing.
Overdosing and then suicide. I mean, how crazy is that?
Yeah, so why are we not considering the alternatives of CBD oils and cannabis, even if it doesn't have THC for the kids, obviously.
That patent number you mentioned. I think that might be part of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can't make money off of it studying, how do you make money on it?
Yeah, and
Keep it illegal.
our recovery industry, I think, is $180 billion a year between all the
Yes.
addictions and the recoveries and the criminal complaints and the legal fees and all that agita. 180 billion dollars a year. So how are they going to want to fix something making that much money? They're not going to.
Why would they? There's no incentive.
Exactly. So thank you for what you're doing and growing.
No, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and honestly, it sucks the road we took to get here, but I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. So where do we go again to find this trailer?
I would go to the Vimeo page for GCM Media LLC, and it's under Haters Make Me Famous right on their page.
Thanks, y'all, for listening. Please come back to next Womanist Wednesday. You can find me on my website, lisalandry.com. Shout out, Ari. I love you, little boo-boo.